What's up guys, my name's Rev, and today I'm going to be doing an unboxing and review of the new EVGA GTX 780 for the Win Edition graphics card. Now I've never done any sort of hardware review before, but then again I've never bought such a beast of a graphics card before, so I thought why not? Let's show everyone what this card can do. Now I've upgraded from a GTX 670 for the Win Edition graphics card to get the best performance I can in the latest graphically intensive games like Battlefield 4. This review isn't going to be super technical, so I thought I'd get the tech specs out of the way first. I'm going to focus more on a gaming performance to show you in real terms what you're likely to expect from this card. I've also included a breakdown of the new ACX cooler which EVGA have been putting on their latest graphics cards. I'll talk a bit more about that new cooler later on in the review. So let's get into the unboxing. I've always liked the design of the EVGA boxes, nice bold text and not too much going on, so they're quite clean looking. Now the For the Win logo there is just a sticker, it's not printed on the box as it was for my 670 For the Win card. On the side of the box is all the reasons why EVGA is number one, and I must admit for the last three cards I've bought the EVGA versions. Let's see what extras come with the card. So first we've got a big ass poster, A2 size to be precise. Then we've got a couple of the EVGA enthusiast built stickers for all those who like to stick them on their cases or whatever. Next we've got a note about the dual BIOS on this card. I'll talk a bit more about that in detail later on in the video. There's a DVI to VGA adapter for those that need one. There's an 8-pin PCI-E power adapter. And a 6-pin PCI-E power adapter. There's a cool little case badge for those that want to show off what hardware they're packing in their fancy case. Does it remind anyone else of the Transformers logo? Maybe it's just me. We've got a quick start guide, but let's face it, that goes straight in the bin. Then there's the full EVGA user guide, which comes in multiple languages. Now lastly, we have the EVGA driver CD, to which we just throw it away and go download the latest ones from the website. Now for what you've all come here for, the money shot. Now be careful when getting it out of the plastic case, it is stuck in there pretty tight, you have to bend the clear plastic back to free it. There's some clear film to make sure your fancy new ACX cooler is scratch free. There's the sexy black PCB, which is much better than the dark brown PCBs that some manufacturers have been using. Now if you're like me, you'll notice straight away that the For the Win marking is just a badge they've stuck on the cooler, and this one wasn't even put on straight either. My OCD went "Ah!" when I saw that, I tell you. There you can see the larger fins that have been used for the heatsink over the standard 780 cooler. And there's a nice little reminder of what the ACX stands for, with the cool spelling of extreme, in inverted commas. It's got two SLI connectors, which this supports up to 3-way SLI. Not that I can see many people doing that, but some might for the sheer bragging rights. Now I've read that you can actually get up to 4-way SLI, but you have to do some driver tweaking to manage that. It's not actually officially supported on the card. We have a dual DVI-I and a dual DVI-D port. There's also a HDMI port and a DisplayPort 1.2 connector. This card easily supports 4K resolution monitors and supports up to 4 monitors concurrently, but with the 3GB of memory, I'd say only 3 monitors is realistic. I'm going to show you some Battlefield 4 gameplay footage with the FPS counter in the top right corner. I'll start with everything set to ultra, then high, then medium graphics settings to show you the difference this makes to the frames per second. Now please bear in mind that by recording the gameplay this also reduces the FPS slightly due to the capture software being used, so the card actually performs a bit better than what you're seeing here. The GeForce GTX 780 is Nvidia's all-new high-end graphics card, which is based on the GTX Titan by using the same Kepler GK110 architecture and has a massive 7.1 billion transistors. This card has 3 GB of GDDR5 memory, which is half what the Titan has, but this is still plenty to run multiple monitors at a decent resolution. The card is 27 cm long and 11.5 cm high. It weighs about 1.3 kilograms, so it's quite heavy, but just like all the other high-end graphics cards are quite heavy. It costs £430 retail price. Now, I bought this card with my own money, and it's safe to say it's the most expensive graphics card I've ever bought, but I don't think I'll be replacing it anytime soon. The main competitor for this card at this price range would be the R9 290X, but from what I've read, this card outperforms it runs a hell of a lot cooler, and is a lot quieter as well with its great ACX cooler design. This card also outperforms the GTX Titan out of the box as well, so it really is a beast. This For The Win edition card has a core base clock of 980 MHz. On the standard 780 this is 863 MHz. This For The Win card has a core boost clock of 1033 MHz, whereas the standard 780 would be 900 MHz. Now, as you can see, this is a decent jump in performance straight out of the box. Now, there's also what's been dubbed the Kepler boost, which is an extra clock speed that the card reaches above the core boost clock. This is different for every card and is determined by the GPU usage, available power and temperature. Whilst playing Battlefield 4 for an hour, the boost clock reached 1110.5 MHz, the maximum temperature reached 77 degrees, and max fan speed was at 65% usage. So the Kepler boost definitely made a significant increase to the boost clock speed, and it still didn't reach the stock temperature target of 80 degrees, which shows there's still some headroom for even more performance. Now, as I've never overclocked a graphics card before, I'll probably just leave it as it is, but for those that want to overclock even more, there's plenty of tweaking that can be done to squeeze the absolute maximum you can out of this card. You can use the EVGA Precision software that's provided, or Afterburner is another popular program that people use for this. Now, I'm pretty sure I've seen people get stable overclocks of 1250 MHz on the boost frequency, and when you consider the standard 780 core boost frequency is 900 MHz, these are massive performance gains. Now let's talk a bit about the ACX cooler. This has a 40% larger fin count than the standard cooler has. This makes it definitely more efficient at dissipating heat, allows for a 15% lower GPU temperature compared to the standard 780 cooler. Now, it also has a reinforced base plate on the front of the PCB, which helps to dissipate heat and also maintains a straight PCB, which is great because this is definitely a heavy card. EVGA is using fan blades that they say are 700% stronger and weigh 25% less in comparison to the competitors' fan blades. EVGA is also using double ball bearing fans which offer a 12-year lifespan. This is 4 times longer when compared to the competitors using the sleeve bearing design. This is due to the double ball bearings being more efficient and therefore needing less power to spin the fans. This also means that the noise is reduced by 15% as well, which, let's face it, that's great for gamers who talk on TeamSpeak or whatever and don't want any crazy noisy fans sounding like a hairdryer over their microphones. This card features a dual BIOS, which means you get a secondary BIOS that allows you to experiment with custom BIOSes without the risk of breaking the card. It does this by allowing easy BIOS recovery just by flipping a switch on the back of the card. So for example, if you found a custom BIOS that you'd like to try out that other people are recommending, you'd flash that custom BIOS to the card, but let's say something goes wrong, it doesn't work, you can just take the card out of the PC, flip the teeny tiny little switch on the back, and then it'll be back to the stock BIOS. Now, with all the hype about G-Sync at the moment, you've probably heard of it. G-Sync is fully supported with this card. G-Sync is basically a technology which is built into a monitor which will stop the screen tearing when the FPS is higher than what the refresh rate of the monitor is. Now this is a fantastic step forward in monitor technology and hopefully won't be too long before it's released and available to buy. Now as Nvidia have said, once you use a monitor with G-Sync you'll never go back to a standard monitor. And you know what? I believe them. As you might have seen from my Battlefield 4 campaign videos, I hate screen tearing. Now you've probably also heard of Shadow Play. This is also fully supported with this card. This is a new software from Nvidia which utilises an onboard H.264 encoder built into the GTX 600 and 700 series graphics cards in order to record gameplay without significantly impacting on FPS and hard drive space. This technology is what sets it apart from other recording software like Fraps. At the moment it doesn't support multiple audio tracks, so you can't record in-game mic and TeamSpeak sounds separately, but I'm sure they'll add that in the near future as it's a big plus for recording gameplay videos. GPU Boost 2.0 is fully supported and is only available in the GTX 700 series cards. This increases the boost clock until the graphics card hits a predetermined temperature target, which I believe is 80 degrees C for Nvidia cards. So the better cooling you have, the better boost you're going to get, this being another reason why the ACX cooler is a big plus. It also allows the card to remain at maximum boost for longer periods, which will ultimately increase the overall performance of the card. Now I'm sure everyone will admit that no graphics card is perfect, so here's a few small cons that I've noticed about this card. The ACX cooler dissipates heat into the case rather than out of the case. This isn't a big problem if you have a case with good airflow pushing the warm air out of the case. My case is a Cooler Master CM690 version 2 Advanced, which has great cooling and also has a handy vent on the side window right above where the GPU is, where I think most of the warm air will come out of the card. The only other little thing that I'm sure people would have liked is the glowing GTX 780 name on top of the card like the reference cooler has. Now before I wrap this up, I wanted to mention about the For the Win part of this card. For the Win appears to be a bit of an afterthought for this card, which wasn't the case on my GTX 670. For the Win markings on this are just stickers and badges on both the box and the cooler. On my GTX 670 these were both printed on, which looked a lot cleaner and more professional. Maybe EVGA are going to do a second For the Win version further down the line, maybe they just wanted to get this one out quickly. Who knows, but I thought it was worth mentioning as this review is specifically for the Win version of the 780. These cons are definitely not something which would stop me buying this card, they're just a couple of small things which I've noticed that could be improved upon for future versions. So to sum up, this card is an absolute beast when it comes to performance. It's the best performing card available for its price range. It looks fantastic, you can tell it's a very well designed card that is made with quality components to ensure its high performance and durability. Exactly what a gamer wants out of a graphics card. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed my very first unboxing and review. If you have, leave a like and a comment, let me know what you thought. But for today, that's it from me, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Oh!